Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Gavin Mehl. We're going to go ahead and start the space here. This is going to be the XTownHall, the future of blockchain, and XTownHall Mastermind with the industry innovators. As we get started today, it's 8:15 on Sunday. We're going to be doing this space on Sunday at this time, and then also on Wednesday at 9 Pacific. So tune in for that. Set it on your calendars each week. I'm going to have like different speakers on and different similar content, but we're going to start flowing with the trends. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about here, and I'm going to set a timer and go around the horn and set like 2-minute timers, let everybody talk for 2 minutes, and then we'll kind of open up. So the format is basically like a town hall mastermind where we do a quick introduction, and then we're going to go through like the most relevant stuff of which is like, hey, what are you up to? Who are you? Oh, first of all, we're going to talk about what is your X handle so people can find you when if they're on a recording, your name, and then, what you're up to, how we can help you, how you can help us, whatever value add you want to provide, and whatever you want to talk about for 2 minutes. And then we'll just go around and talk about what we talk, close any loose ends from last week, like on old business, and then open up on new business, and then just like run through this forum in like about an hour time slot. And then Mehl is probably going to host an after space after that. So my name is Gavin Mehl. It's at Gavin Mehl on Twitter or X. And, I started hosting a mastermind like this about in 2019, every single week on Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. It's on the legal stuff. It's like more of a private membership legal group, but it's been incredibly successful. And I learned it from the Andrew Carnegie Science of Success philosophy, and the Napoleon Hill Law of Success, the Gospel of Wealth by Andrew Carnegie, the book, another book called the Think Your Way to Wealth by Napoleon Hill, the 1925 Law of Success, and then of course Think and Grow Rich, which talks about the mastermind principle and how it's really the second fundamental principle of success, where minds come together after the same definite purpose. And we were talking about a definite purpose of this group is about really taking the white paper and getting it out by just following the original Bitcoin white paper that came out. And as much as I don't understand the whole thing, I do understand the casual payments, on Bitcoin, and how important it is to have like casual electronic payments around the world, so we can have our own money. Because if we don't have control of our own money and we're relying on somebody else, then really, how free are we? And I happen to be just a total freedom junkie, freedom addict. I want more and more freedom in all areas of life. And one of the ways is money, and not only just having abundant money, but having my own way to transact with people. And we used to have silver and gold to do that when we were in our local communities, but now that we're global, silver and gold is just not a feasible way. I don't see us going backwards to that. So we need a way to transact through casual payments, low cost, low fees. And that's what we think we got our hands on right here. So yeah, my name is Gavin Mehl. I just want to go around and go through really a couple of interesting things I did yesterday. I was with Xiaowei Liu, the founder of Scrypt. I think he's probably the most, one of the most interesting men in Bitcoin. I put a video out on that yesterday. And, he actually introduced me to a couple developers, actually engineers inside the inner workings of X and Google and YouTube. And so it was interesting to hear their commentary about how the algorithms work there. And so that's kind of in the works and talks with getting into the offices. I'm going to go actually inside the headquarters and probably shoot some videos and everything, and hear more about how the inner workings of things work, being that they're really close by to where I'm at. Why not? Now that I have a way in. So I'm going to spin it over to, let's see, Casey, you were actually in first on the co-host stage. So why don't we go on over to you? 2 minutes. Good morning. And glad to have you today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm a big believer in mastermind energy. And Neville Goddard is someone you left out that I wanted to throw his name out there too. The power of manifesting things into the world that we all want to see here with Bitcoin and what BSV can bring to the new global economy that's emerging here. So happy to be here. And thank you again for starting to bring people back together, because I feel like the energy is kind of scattered after the court case, and everybody's kind of just like ready to regroup. So it's time, and good to see all the familiar faces in here. And
what's your short story?
Yeah, my short story is just someone that's been constantly censored on social media platforms. And I know that we need to find a solution to free speech and restoring freedom in all, levels and dimensions here. So uh, the social media aspect and advertising aspect and the micropayments and all that, and the way we can monetize as content creators just grabbed my attention and has kept me here, just with my popcorn watching everything play out. So, yeah, that's all I got for now.
Casey Nicole, excellent. All right, I'm going to add Michael as well. Let's see, invite to speak. Okay, so then it's at the Rebel Path on X for Casey Nicole, and now we're going to go over to Mila Smila. That's at SMILAZPARADIS on X. Smila, good morning.
Good morning. It is evening over here already in Europe. And yeah, good to see you all, everybody. And yeah, I can only agree with Casey on all of that. And yeah, let's have a strong community. Let's be aware of that it's happening so that we can be really strong against all odds.
Coming together, unite, right? And
What's
there's
the quote? Those who love peace must learn to organize as well as those who love war. So it's got to start somewhere. And, as far as a solution-based technology that humanity can collectively, coherently get behind and run with, there's nothing else out here like BSB to do that with. So.
yeah, nice. All right. It would be okay. Now I added Michael. Michael, feel free to jump up on the slot as well. I want to hear from you. So before we go to Jacob, I'd love to hear. Why don't we hear from Bose? Bose, my man, I met Bose in person. We sat down in London, so I know the guy. He's the real deal, man. So Bose, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Thanks, man. I'm okay. Thanks for inviting me here. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So what's up?
Well, just for people who don't know you, it's at B0ASE on X. And just what's your short story, man? What have you been up to for the last number of years? You've been in the space a long time. 2 minutes.
I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't roughly know my story. I've already talked about it a lot. And I have been interested in Bitcoin for a very long time. I'm pivoting more into crypto now. I think I've been out of crypto for the last 5 years and been just perfectly focused on BSV. And I'm a bit ambivalent about the thing now. I recognize that it's working technology. I recognize that it's the working technology. And I also recognize like the political and social climate and the legal climate that's surrounding it. And I'm just sort of like, I don't know, just taking a breather, really. So, I mean, I don't know if you really want me to go into depth because I've talked about myself so much and what I've done anyway in Bitcoin. So, I don't know. I mean, I am happy to talk about tech and happy to talk about apps and happy to talk about like what I think we should do as a culture and a community. But I also want to be aware that there's a wider technology space and a wider financial space outside BSV, and I think it's important that we somewhat, broaden our horizons given what's happened in the last few weeks.
I got a little slack for this, but I was telling someone that after the judgment, I went ahead and transferred some BSB to XRP and Doge for the first time in years, just because I realized how much this Ponzi scheme is going to keep going for indefinitely. So I was just like tired of missing out on some of the gains if these things do pop off again. So I feel you on that, Bose.
Nice. And so let me open up here in just a moment here as well, and we'll kind of go into open forum. But so Bose, anything else you want to add before we go on to Jacob?
No, I'm happy to listen and be here.
Okay, nice. Awesome. Okay, sweet. So Jacob, you're up, buddy. Jacob Alexander at JCBSTWSK. on X. So Jacob, what's your story, man?
I don't know. I'm into movies, media, kind of music, little bit, bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. So, and what is it you're working on right now?
So we're doing basically really focusing on on-chain media and sort of I don't want to tease too much, but we're kind of pushing out a something like 4chan, like an image board, but not with the culture of 4chan so much as the format of the image board. And with kind of a lot more just with money attached to it, and you have just a lot of clever things that can happen in a really high volume sort of mimetic space, like that. So yeah, that's basically kind of what we're doing right now, and pushing something out by 4th of July, pretty much. Yeah.
Nice. Sounds like you're going to be launching something. So we're going to have to hear more about it. I want to go over to Michael and hear a little bit more about what you're doing. So before we hear from you more, let's go over to our friend Michael Scott and see what he's up to. My man, it's at Melon. Yeah. What's your handle?
Yep, at Mehl Ahead.
Melon Ahead.
Friend had given me the kind of just stuff, ever since back in the day. So, Michael Scott, nice to talk to everyone this morning. Apologies, it's kind of a travel day for me, so I'm kind of getting ready to head over to the airport. But definitely have half hour here to listen in and give some thoughts. But I appreciate you putting this on, Gavin. And just quick backstory: been involved since 2013 in Bitcoin. Have been frustrated with the block size, scaling, vehement, big blocker. Documented that throughout the whole time, and feel just as strongly today as I did what is it, 8 years ago now. So really focused now on solutions that can enable scaling to happen. I believe that one of the big mistakes that was made in regards to scaling was kind of obviously the artificial constraint of 1 megabyte, but not allowing nodes to to scale coinciding with the actual miners. So part of what I've been working on recently, just on the side, is kind of tinkering with a full node, getting that up to speed, and now starting to understand some of the development side with what Xiaowei is teaching. And so there's a lot of business ideas I have that use the enablement of blockchain and specifically Bitcoin, Satoshi's vision to achieve that. So that's really why I'm here. And being that I have a full-time kind of occupation, this is a growing interest to see how we can start making some stuff happen in terms of the business ideas. So that's why I'm here.
Nice. All right. A lot of the entrepreneurial spirit sounds like from Michael. So, all right, let's, okay. That's what we got on the speakers panel today. So we're going to wait. We'll have, we're going to open up a little bit more, but before we do that, let me just recap on, we talked about one of the interesting things we had last week was on Wednesday was the integration of AI with the blockchain reality. And that was from George C.O.C. Samuels. He had this idea of integrating the large language models with, with blockchain and tokenizing the entire concept. I didn't realize that large language models were triggered by tokens. And so it seems like they could be a lot more effective and more accurate if they were tokenized. So it seems like that's a wide open opportunity for some entrepreneurs that are seeking to, a massive industry. I mean, I know that's something when he said that, I just a light bulb went off in my head. So that's out there. And anyone else who's, entrepreneurial spirit like Bose and Michael and Jacob, I know Casey, Mehl, we talk extensively about it. So, feel free to open up and kind of see where this goes right now. So what, Michael, you had talked to Jacob, Jacob, he's working on a new product that I have no idea what it is. Casey has done some, I don't know if it's similar or not. She's done a really interesting business as well. So can you explain what he's doing?
You know what, I think like you said, kind of the, on-chain 4chan really, is my understanding. And I know that Jacob's been involved since day one. Actually, he's a BSV OG, as much as one could be, right? So I know for me personally, I've always been drawn to Craig and all that. And I think last week everyone heard me, vehemently defend him and go over the facts. We're not going to do that this week, and I'll let that kind of speak for itself. And really, I think the best way we can move forward is to just understand how to enable right all of those ideas to come to fruition instead of kind of debating ad nauseum. So that's kind of where I've been shifting my energy. And I think for how Jacob and I kind of hit it off was, like I was saying, he was involved day one. He's known kind of some of the Twitch guys and was early Twitch user, and just has been kind of behind the scenes in a lot of the kind of the technical side of things, more so than maybe folks who are just mainly focused on the investment side and kind of that's kind of what I think draws a lot of the attention. But Jacob likes to tinker in the background and kind of really put to use the technology. So that's kind of what interested me in kind of what he's been up to. So I know that him and I kind of go back and forth on a lot of ideas, and it's quite a list. And so I think he's making a lot of progress with that. So that's really cool to see. And I think the on-chain media thing is the other thing we talked about, because I've definitely got a vision where I believe strongly that the future of all media consumption will be a micro payment, per second, stream essentially, where it'd be basically open source and you kind of choose your platform, but you could literally watch anything in the world, right? World Cup, F1, like movies, anything, right? And have kind of a distribution kind of pipeline, that kind of wholesales out from, kind of a micro streaming kind of aspect. So I know there'd be a lot of tectonic plates to have to move in order for that to ever happen. But I definitely believe in that vision, and at least want to start understanding who's involved in that and how can we bring, the conversation to light, but also, start to understand the technical workings, which is why I think what Xiaowei is doing is really kind of the most cutting edge work that's being done, because it truly impacts, all of the promises that we've been hearing about in terms of smart contracts, in terms of development, in terms of the scripting language and everything that he's doing. So I think it's really what, where the rubber meets the road. And so I think,
Yeah. What is it that, people who don't know Xiaowei, and I put a video out yesterday with him, where we were hanging out in Mountain View. So, what is it about that he's done right now that's so significant, that's so important?
I think really setting up a script and having, them be the preeminent leader within not only, Bitcoin SE, but I think just Bitcoin as a whole, enabling, absolutely breakthrough, technologies and solutions. When you look at, some of the inscriptions and just everything that they're unlocking protocol wide, not just on SV, but also just on Bitcoin itself to kind of show proof of concept. And I know with Jack Liu and kind of some of folks in his camp, I get it. They're trying to maybe red pill, kind of the BTC side of things, and folks can kind of agree or disagree on that. But I think at least, showcasing, hey, this is what the UTXO model was intended for. This is the capability of it. And he really opened my eyes in terms of, hey, anything you can do on Ethereum, right? You can essentially do for orders of magnitude cheaper, faster, and more effectively on UTXO.
That's something I was gonna ask, Michael, if I can interrupt real quick.
Please, go ahead, Casey.
The transpiler that they announced, like a year and a half or so ago, do you know of any Ethereum developers like actually using that and coming on over to BSV, or do you have any updates
Yeah,
on the transpiler?
Kevin is one. Kevin, I mean, there's the only one I could think of, but there's also Zach Wins. Kevin is one. Zach Wins. Those are just two that I could think of offhand. There's definitely a lot.
Yeah, who's the gentleman with the blonde hair?
Kevin. Kevin.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Kevin Healy?
Kevin Healy. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are just some recent ones. Some that come to name, but go. Yeah, continue, Casey. Yeah. There's definitely
I was just wondering if there were any Ethereum projects that have actually employed that Solidity code transpiler. So I'm not a
Yeah, that's a really good
developer, so.
question. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see kind of if anyone.
Well, that was one of the things I asked Xiaowei last night is kind of about the end chain product that just came out. They've got this new thing where they're swapping like Ethereum and Bitcoin on chain somehow with a it sounds like an atomic swap. So I'm just thinking, like, how does that work with Scrypt? And so it's so new that it seems like there hasn't been any businesses yet, Casey. Like this is it's like one of those things that people have not quite connected the dots. So it's ripe. It's ripe for opportunity right now, is the way I'm seeing it.
My conspiracy mind got really excited about that when that came out because of what John McAfee said about how they had like all this stuff on the WACT token on the Ethereum blockchain. And I was like, well, if they want to get rid of that disclosure, they could just take down the whole Ethereum blockchain. But then this technology like makes it to where we can save the entire Ethereum blockchain forever and it can't destroy that evidence, right? So that was the other reason I really liked this transpiler. I was hoping that something would come out of this over all this time, but it doesn't seem like much has.
I don't know if the businesses seems like it's so there's just been a learning curve on it, to be honest, at least on my end. I heard about it when he announced it at the Dubai conference. It seemed so revolutionary that he wasn't going to it was going to put the Ethereum stuff on Bitcoin. And it's happening, but now it's a matter of like, that's not Scrypt's job. That's all the entrepreneurs' job, right? They've just basically laid the framework, it seems like, on how to do it. I mean, have you played with it, Jacob, at all? Have you dealt with Scrypt?
Oh, not exactly. I definitely, like I saw the video you just posted, and that was awesome with Xiaowei, and really it's I got a buddy of mine that I'm working with, and he couldn't join or anything probably next time, but he's really kind of engineering the
Smart contracts.
yeah, exactly.
All right. So one of the smart contracts things is tokenized, and it seems like that was really the big buzz around the London conference was tokenized. I haven't, we were talking about it this week, Michael, and the impact of tokenized. And it was just like, people who are old school, they're like, oh yeah, it's been around forever. I don't know anything about it. Okay. It's new to me. it's like when I'm starting to realize it, it seems fascinating that what it could potentially do for businesses and entrepreneurs. You know, which is tokenizing. It's token. So how do you explain tokenize? It's tokenizing.
Brendan is someone you want to get on for sure.
Brendan?
Or whoever, I'm sorry, what was it? Who's the?
Oh, James Belding.
Sorry, what was I thinking, Brendan? Yeah, James Belding, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you guys, yeah, so that's just something that it seems like, right? Now, when it comes to the idea of the script implementation there, Casey, it seems like that the utilizing the tokenized software is somehow, you know, understanding how that's gonna work and you know, basically make this entire thing easy. It seems like it's super important. I know you started using it recently, Michael. I have not, but you know, it's we just gotta bridge that learning curve. You know, one of the things that Xiaowei mentioned yet last night was that script is focusing right now on the small block side of Bitcoin. You know, the BTC, they're making sure to have all the smart contracts and the integration that BTC can utilize, you know, do smart contracts. Just you know, completely similar to the BSV side. So, you know, I mean, it's definitely, they're developing that all out right now. It's full stop. Michael, go ahead.
No, it's interesting. Yeah, and I get it, right? Is that you want to kind of cast a wider net, and you know, I've definitely seen folks come in from kind of the other side of things who maybe haven't been following, you know, the fork and kind of the protocol as closely as maybe folks, you know, on the call, but definitely have seen folks, you know, have their eyes open after maybe being in like a BTC or an Ethereum and just saying, hey, well, oh, you can do all that and more, right? On BSVs. I think that could definitely be a red pill, for sure.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm more of a maxi, right? So I'm more of like a hardcore fundamentalist, and you know, I just realized that, hey, maybe, you know, there's nothing wrong with casting a wider net, to be honest, and just instead of reprimanding folks, maybe just teach them, you know, that you know, that could be a more effective way to kind of bring folks in.
yeah, and Casey, one of the things you mentioned, which is you got to think about a lot of the stuff that people are going to hear this. They don't know anything about the past, so we're who?
Project Babbage, they're definitely could speak to a lot of this.
I'm sure. Oh, there you go. Yeah, feel free to Mehl, if you want to add them up to the stage, feel free to. And Casey, you and I talked a little bit about the about, you know, some of the stuff that you've done in the past and that ideas that you had that could integrate with what one of the projects you'd worked on. I mean, feel free to add, you know, whatever you're willing to share on this call. I know you have you know, we'd love to hear about it.
Well, thank you. Ty just came up though, so let's maybe let him say hi and then I'll talk about it in a bit.
Ty,
Hello, everybody.
good morning, buddy. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, good morning. Just got a message on my team Slack that this was going on, so figured I would pop in and see what y'all are up to.
Well, you know, we're just out here trying to get small casual payments on the internet. You know, it's just this little thing called this Bitcoin white paper. You probably never heard anything about, but you.
We do need to have some small casual transactions. So it would be useful for a few reasons, I would say.
Yeah.
So let's make it happen. You know.
Yeah.
Just gotta
I
drive
mean,
things forward.
you know, so we you know, we never got to sit down in London and have dinner. We were talking about doing that. And I really want to,
Yeah.
you know, but I came by your booth and talked to you guys quite a bit. It was good to catch up in San Francisco as well, you know. So, but for those who don't know anything about what you're doing, I mean, is there a way you could simplify that and try to for a fifth grader like myself that you might be able to tell me what you
Well,
guys are up
kinda
to?
said it yourself, right? Like small casual payments on the internet. We need to be able to pay for things directly. because micropayments increase the screen resolution of capitalism. And we need to make people understand that what they pay for matters, I guess. That's kind of what I'm about. But I want to know what people are building and what you guys are kind of been working on and you know, putting together, because everybody's got to get together and strategize about things and think long term and make plans, and you know, that's
So
where I'm at.
I think that's a good note for me to kind of explain what my intention was with Be the Broadcast. For us to do exactly that was just, there's so much interference in coming together and masterminding on traditional social media platforms that my friend Suzanne was an amazing WordPress designer, and she basically gave me this site that I customized for the BSB ecosystem to come and start masterminding on a WordPress site. But Rohan with Time Chain Labs was adding in micropayment so that
I
each
know.
engagement, each engagement as we talk to each other on the timeline could be monetized with micropayments. So if you're on there and creating really good content, you're one of the big builders. You can use it like a private Facebook group. There's groups that you can go into to talk about your specific vertical. And then each platform that's building on the BSB blockchain is listed in the subgroup. So you can really get into the specialized conversations that need to happen, and then in a monetized way using those small casual payments as we do it. So just an uninhibited networking and you know, co-creation site that we can all start working with each other. And the problem is my WordPress designer dropped dead from a heart attack on me, and so I have this beautiful website that I barely know how to drive the back end of. So if anybody would like to like take this project over, and we can, like I said, Gavin, just use that platform as a place to gather and have these conversations. The platform's like up for grabs to the community. Like, just let's take it and run with it. I just Rohan also said that he could code in the ability to do spaces on them in the groups, so we can actually have these type of conversations outside of Twitter.
Yeah, that's really valuable. You know, there's a lot there that people can build on top of. And you know, you've got to create that kind of platform, and then you've got to standardize the way that we communicate, so that, you know, if one platform goes away, you have a protocol that many people can follow. And that way you're not just a Web 2 platform, but you're a Web 3 platform, because there's the micropayment side, and then there's also the like, you know, with email, we can all talk to each other, even if we don't all use the same email client. And it's like social media should be that way. You know, the Twitter Spaces protocol where we talk to each other in these little rooms, they should be that way. And all have different people joining from different apps, even, and different websites, and like standardize that. That's important. But I wonder, Casey, did you see my presentation in London when I was up on stage? I demonstrated a one-click micropayment on a WordPress site that could be integrated into that kind of platform as well. And maybe, you know, I talked to Rohan about the time chain summer of code and getting some students up on this stuff too. But maybe we should all work together on integrating these pieces together.
I would absolutely love that. And unfortunately, I did not get to watch the conference, so I was sad they didn't live stream it this year like they had previously.
I wish they did, yeah.
I know, that was disappointing because I just had too much else going on to spend the money on it. But hopefully they'll start putting out some of the videos and things here soon. Do you guys know if they're planning on doing that?
Brett would probably be the person to ask about that. I don't know if he's up here yet.
Okay.
I don't know if he's here. If you see Brett, feel free to add him up, Mila. I don't see him. So, but it was, we all went. I mean, Mila was there. I was there. Bose stopped in, and we saw all this action. I filmed some of this, some of it as I could go. I more did vlog style, but it was, you know, it was probably one of the best. I mean, I thought it was one of the best conferences I've been to. I really liked the setup. It was like that floor style where they had the big conference room floor. It was really open and, you know, just jam packed full of energy in there. in that, in the center. And then they had the stages on the backside. So, you know, it was I thought it was a good vibe, you know, it just it wasn't long enough. That was all. We just, we needed a little bit more. Could always be longer. But the people that I met at this conference, that's really what it came down to, was the relationships. I mean, the last day was very significant. There's some people that I've met that are coming in the background, that are already involved in the space in the background, it's so big that it's just not mentionable here. You know, I'm sworn to secrecy on a lot of stuff. But you know, I'm sure Ty's very, very informed on some of the things that are happening. It's amazing. So, you know,
Silly people are gonna build silly things and it's gonna be fun, and that's what I have to say about all the secrecy.
yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, that's so
And all I have to add to Web 2 is the Comic Sans stop sign on top of all of the authentication processes, and I put that on my booth when I was at LBC, and everybody saw it. I think you know that's basically the size of it. You know, it's like we've got to move past all this and standardize it, and sometimes that means working with big companies behind the scenes, you know, and in the background, and try to get them to work together on using the same protocols and underlying systems because it's more valuable for everybody. But not everybody wants to talk about that in the open, unfortunately. You know, but I respect it because they got a bunch of money behind it, and they put a lot of work in. So you know, work together where you can, and these kind of groups are really cool because you know you just get to see what everybody's about, and you know, sometimes you get to make some plans with some people.
yeah. And one of the things we're talking about planning here, Ty, is, well, definitely another hackathon. I was with Xiaowei last night, and we were talking about
Let's do that. Yeah.
doing another hackathon for sure. So we need to decide on the location and a time. And we're talking December, but he's thinking, oh, that's too long. We need to do it sooner than that. So, you know, we got to put something together. But you know, then the way we do it potentially is like breakout sessions where, you know, people come together like in little groups like this, but in person, and then we just work on an idea.
Yeah, that's important. You know, like the script hackathon, it was only there was a couple days, and that was a little bit too short, I think. But the vibe there was really good. There was a lot of both sides of the space. You know, you need that enterprise energy with, like, you know, the BA people of the world, and then you also need the kind of community side, and you got to kind of blend those together into a single event, and not be too formal about it, so that you can get all the right kinds of people together, while also being, you know, having a plan and just saying, you know, here's where we're going to be at, and here's what we're going to be doing, and whatnot. I think that last time, you know, it was fun, but you know, doing a code along or something with people, having some kind of interactive presentation or hands-on thing where someone could you know, could kind of build some people could form groups and then build things together. That would be really fun. Like, you know, and I did I actually sent Xiaowei a message a couple days ago too, and I told him, you know, hey, what's going on with this, and you know, we want to put something together. So I think, you know, three of us should align on that. It'd be fun to you know, set something up. I have some space in Southern Oregon that could be used for it. You know, not a lot of space, but enough. And then we could also, you know, find a place that would be more central, where more people could easily access it, and whatnot. But
Well, Kevin Healy and go ahead.
I just want to tell you, I have a business that I'm working in Bentonville, Arkansas. I don't know if that's a central area or not, but it has like so much square footage that is just sitting there not being used, that could easily be set up with tables and all kinds of stuff.
Is that
Free.
that big place I saw?
Yes. that on that Zoom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That huge room behind me is just like, need to do something with it. If you guys need a space.
Looks like a big workspace right there for sure. Huge.
It is, with the right tables and some decorations, it'd be perfect.
That's what Kevin Healy and Ryan Wold were saying. The guys that won that hackathon was that they just needed a little bit more time together in person, and it would have excelled their entire process a lot faster if we structure like an event with more time where people can spend together. Because that's what they said they lacked, is they came together on other meetings, but they said they could have moved way faster had, we had time, just permanent, like set time at the event where that's all they're doing, and then come back and like report back, because I got great ideas that I can help bring forward if we have the right people in the same room. And, that was like go ahead.
You gotta lock the idea people in a room with the coding people, because the coding people will otherwise be too shy, and they'll never really interact with everybody.
Right.
Because that's kind of the vibe usually. So you gotta get them all together, and you've got to put them in a room with everybody else, and then the idea people get up and they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. How do we do it? And the coding people are like, well, if you insist, I guess we can solve this problem. And then they, put their heads together, and that's kind of the kind of thing that's what we need to be doing during those hackathons, right? Because 2 days of presentations, that's one way to go about it. But like the panels at the end, I think were the best, and like that live stream going as long as I could.
We had, how many people were on that stream, Ty? It was like
thousands, I think. But I don't
yeah, a lot. It was huge. It was
No, it was cool. I'll run the stream again next time. It wasn't hard to do. It's just OBS and a few cameras is all. You plug them together, and the laptop that was running the stream was also the same laptop that was running everybody's slides. So it was kind of an interesting setup, but we made it work.
we bootstrapped the whole thing, basically, is what you're saying. That's
Yeah. Even though, there's some silly people that like to have panels and whatnot that are contentious. Like it was really enjoyable. It was 10 minutes after that stream ended that we were in an Uber to the airport.
Yeah, you waited till the very last second to barely catch your flight. It was out the door.
Yeah, the Uber was about to pull up, and we were like, okay, finally we have to put the laptop in the bag and put it down and take everyone's mics.
You literally waited till the very, very end. And
I heard there were some good things that went on after we left too, like some good dialogue.
Yeah, a lot of good yelling and screaming, and the top of people's lungs was really great. It was fun, from the boomers to degens, as they call them.
Yeah, no, I mean, we need more of that, actually, believe it or not. I think we need to get people together and get them to talk things over and build things, and so I think we're getting better at hosting those hackathons, and I want to do another one. I think before December. It would be good to do it maybe in the early fall, or even just a couple months from now. But it's a matter of logistics and what can be set up, and who's gonna all the business side of things. But fun times for sure.
Well, that's kind of one of the things that we want to talk about on this space is like, I talked to David Case about ideas on that, because I would love to do it with crowdfunding, like bootstrap the whole thing, and where we don't rely on any big companies. And then the big companies can come in the background if they want, and maybe they can, we can strike a deal. I could, strike a deal with them where they say, hey, the winner of this hackathon gets to work with this company for potential venture capital fund and a partners project, kind of like the stuff that Bose had talked about. I think that's a very real possibility from the people that I talked to in London. As long as we're not making promises to people, but have these type of people at the hackathon, and we do a work session, and really after 3 days, it's like, hey, we deliver a working concept.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we need. And honestly, like I see my company and maybe even people like xScript as like bridges, between the really, really small, maybe even individual level, just little projects on one side and then the enterprise on the other side. And then you got these kind of hybrids that, you know, walk the line and do both. And that's the kind of thing that we need, is to have those companies there, you know, have a presence where it's like, okay, let's, you know, get them to keep an eye on who's building what, and some of the people here, you know, understand that, and it's like, you know, they watch it and they see what gets delivered and who can actually move things forward and whatnot, and then at the end they, you know, maybe they're more on maybe they're the judges, or maybe they're you know, sit on the review committee or whatever, of like, of who's gonna, you know, who's gonna win or whatnot. But then they you know, they get to work together afterwards, and they all have each other's contact, and you know, like you say, no promises, but you know, you got people's contact, and whatever transpires from that, you know, can be really good sometimes.
So,
And,
so
yeah,
George, George Cios, this is kind of a bombshell idea, and I want to run it by you. Anybody else who wants to comment on it, but it was George Ciosi Samuel that brought this up on Wednesday, and he said, what about the tokenizing the large for like small casual payments, tokenizing the large language models? Seems like one of the problems right now is that the large language models are very inaccurate, and they tend to guess, make things up that aren't necessarily true. And there's a lot of problems that it's causing. I've seen an attorney in a court case. He actually filed some brief about using a large language model, and it was just making up fake court cases. And the attorney got sanctioned from the court about what he did. And so, you know, these are problems that that are going on right now. And it seems like George mentioned that well, it could be tokenized. Is that something that could be done, Ty, to somehow, you know, blend in? I mean,
well, I mean, there's a few things there that are really important. And you have a few different aspects and elements of that. The one that comes front of mind is there's a lot of training data that these AIs use to kind of, you know, these companies use to produce their AI models. And putting all of that training data on the blockchain, and then creating a reproducible, provably fair way to, you know, demonstrate that, you know, look, this AI model was trained on this specific information. Here is all the input that was used to get it to where it is now, and we can prove that on chain. And then after you've done that, you know, everybody can use it, and all of their inputs can be, you know, can be recorded. The output maybe can be recorded, although you have some privacy issues there. The main thing is keeping the training accountable, because imagine if there was a micropayment and it costs, say, a penny, you know, to get something out of the AI, and that penny was split among the people who provided the training data, and that was done in a smart contract on chain. That's a really far future thing, just because it's so high volume. I mean, we're talking about terabytes of training data, and you know, millions of training iterations over that in order to get it where it needs to be. But still, it's something that can be explored for, like, you know, the 10-20 year future timescale. And I think it would keep people more accountable, especially these companies producing these models, because right now, you know, there's issues where they train them on stuff we don't even know about, right? And when they do, it you know, it infringes. You know, I believe that there's some kind of you know, it hasn't been litigated yet, but
privacy,
copyright,
copyright,
you know,
yeah.
well, and then yeah, privacy issues as well. And like, you know, we can solve that with blockchain long term, but the thing is that AI is so much data, so high volume data, that like any blockchain is going to have, you know, issues with that in the short term. Although I think that in the long term, BSV is the most well poised to actually take that over, because, you know, these capacity constraints are being lifted by Terra Node and things like that. And So yeah, you can tokenize, I think, the model itself, and then when you pay to use the model, I think that payment should go back to the sources of training data. And that's one way to do it. And then, beyond that, it would just be, tokenizing specific interactions and whatnot. In the short term, we already have, I think, Chat BSV, which is a website that you can, I think, pay BSV and talk to AI. And then, of course, I built, botcrafter.io, where you can create customizable AI chatbots with unique personalities and have them as tokens and trade them back and forth on a marketplace. And then I also built bitgenius.net, which is an AI that just tells everybody about Bitcoin, and it teaches them the correct way of building things with Bitcoin. But those are a few examples in the short term of what we can do. They're not really tokenizing the AI data itself or the AI model itself or the training data, but they are helping to, trying to, put like blockchain-based economics, micropayments around the interactions with these AIs, and that's where we could be at in the short term.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've already solved a lot of these problems potentially that we just need to learn more about how the heck they work. So,
you could go on bitgenius.net and ask the AI, and it would tell you. But not fully. That one's it's still in progress. Work in progress. But I did get faster recently. It went down for a while, but I think it's back up now. I made it faster.
Yeah, so let's open up to the audience. If anybody has, Mehl, Casey, if you see anybody that's got their hand up or they want to jump in and ask any questions or comments, feel free to do so. Now would be a good time and just kind of open up. We want to keep it a really open space for that. So keep it on the mindset of entrepreneurial spirit, positive, not necessarily debate. We could have other spaces about debate. We want to do that on a different space. This is just about like, where are we going? Predictions, ideas coming together, so, and I mean, I haven't heard much from you, Bo, so I'd love to hear, man. You've got some of the best freaking ideas I've ever heard. So I know that some of them you're keeping close, you're working on, but I don't know. Have you considered where you see we solve some of these problems from a business perspective?
Hey, I'm just out and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. So, Mehl, you want to add it? You have anything that you'd like to add here? Casey, Mehl?
Emilio just came up as a speaker. So.
Okay. Yeah. Emilio, feel free to chime in and see what's on your mind, buddy. Good morning.
Good morning to all, man. Thank you so much for having this space. It's this type of light is the light we need after that court case, because in the end, we all believe in technology. So we're here, building our projects based on the technology, and we have our own connections. Dr. Craig, right? How we all have our connections, right? But outside of that, I just want to, thank you for this space, man, because me being a builder on a space and having people go through Bitcoin House Portugal, including Robin the Lessers, she left today to Paris, but it just shows, I received this property from my parents as a static address, and I brought it to life with Google Maps and the BSV community and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's great to have a space where we have different people that are building different things, and we all can work for each other in the end. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Emilio, for chiming in and giving some feedback here. This is really good. We appreciate it. It's gonna take moving the envelope forward. I mean, and bringing ideas together like this with the builders, like Ty said, and the idea people, getting them in the same room. And then a lot happens in person, and then a lot happens in these follow-up spaces. And then, like Casey mentioned, the group that she has that could potentially be another workspace.
Well, and we definitely have to work together, and in the traditional social media launches that people do, they all kind of come together. So on that note, I just wanted to invite Ruth up to speak. Her and Wall Street 5 looks like they created a really good campaign to get the books that she wrote out. So do you
Yeah.
wanna come up and talk about that at all, Ruth?
But, I'd love to hear and hear more about that book. I have, we've got to read more. So,
Lost art.
yeah, reading. You ever reading? What? That's just what? Now, of course,
Reading is useful.
reading is useful.
should actually
I'm in the middle of teaching a 5-year-old how to read, so I get it.
Yeah, it's something very useful. So feel free to chime in, Ruth, whenever you like. And we had Dolores on as well last time. And we I'm working, to like the idea with this. Go ahead. If that's Ruth, go ahead. Feel free to chime in. But I want to do what the space is like, build the momentum and continue doing this on Sundays and Wednesdays, and then really do it as like a mastermind space where we're just going for about an hour, a little over an hour. Okay. And then we're going to carry on after that and do it again on Wednesday at 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 Eastern. So I'm going to be bringing up more and more speakers, entrepreneurs. It's going to be like some sort of a surprise every time, so it's going to be exciting. So who do we have on the stage, Casey? Anybody else that has their hand up or anything?
I don't see anyone, so.
Okay. Feel free to, if you guys do, we got Ty up right now, which has just been an amazing, the guy, I can't say enough about Ty. I really, how this has all come together with what he's done. So it's just been an amazing concept. And now Jacob, you're doing something similar. Well, I don't know. I can't really understand what it is. I don't know what 4chan even is. So I've never even heard of it personally. So I guess
You've never heard of 4chan?
no, I guess I'm no.
That's mind blowing. Yeah, I've been basically peer-to-peer and kind of online forums, social, communities, and like I've just been interested in that stuff since I was 7 years old, 6 or something. I don't know.
Interested in so are you saying that when Bitcoin came out, you were about 7, or how were you?
No.
What?
Like as soon as I got in the like on the web and as a young kid, like the first thing I did was like download Napster and
Napster.
LimeWire. Yeah, and that was one of the first things I ever did. It was that and kind of like Pokemon cards and Harry Potter toys or something like that, like looking on eBay and stuff and collecting, and it's all kind of, everything's really sort of been on a trajectory since then, kind of along those lines. So based on like media and kind of jokes and toys and tricks, puzzles, and magic, and I just like there's just so much stuff that like it's just I'm just having a blast. Like it's the second, it's the Renaissance.
It's the Renaissance.
Uh,
What kind of,
on summer.
can you help explain and crystallize what sort of vision that you have for that? How do you see that in the future? If you could make a prediction, if you could see into a crystal ball, where do you see this going?
I just think that like with 4chan, what really drives it is the kind of immediacy of information, and X has kind of inherited this more than Twitter did, I think, because spaces and like I think spaces are kind of an advanced form of 4chan, like and like the immediacy of information and memes and kind of jokes and all that, like that's the ground stage. So like yeah, that's kind of the stage I'm operating on. If I had to distill it, I guess. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm having a hard time understanding it, to be honest. So perhaps someone else could chime in and help me understand what he's talking about. Mila, Casey, Michael, anybody that, as I guess I don't understand what 4chan is, and maybe it's my lack of,
It's like it's an image board. So with every thread, someone posts an image, and there are categories, and or boards or whatever, and it's kind of gained a very bad reputation over the years because it's like literally like the whole idea is you're anonymous on 4chan. So
Isn't that where Pepe was originated?
yeah, Pepe the Frog. I mean,
Yes, so Gavin, so like you've heard of Q, right?
I have heard of Q, yes.
That's where it
Yeah.
came, that's where it originated, so.
it was 8chan actually, but
Yeah, 8chan, well, to me, it's the
Yeah.
same. It's 4chan and
Right.
8chan. which
exactly.
4chan was like banned because I guess it's essentially people posting stuff they shouldn't, like sometimes like racist stuff or like doxing people or posting revenge type stuff. But we'll just say, but yeah, it's not something I really go on, but definitely aware of the cultural impact. Like I said, Pepe was like literally originated from there, and it's kind of a very underground meme kind of heavy space that I think Jacob had learned about Bitcoin, not from there, but just from other similar kind of message boards. And I think, Jacob, you said you were also involved in the chat relay IRC back in the day with Bitcoin. And actually, what's funny is when Jacob and I spoke, he's actually, very much a Bitcoin historian, and he was actually telling me about folks and other situations that I had never been aware of, being someone who had tracked Bitcoin as close as you possibly can since 2013. And he was even teaching me about people I had never heard of who were critical to the history of Bitcoin. And I believe you've actually spoken to Kurt and kind of taught him a couple of the stuff as well, so that's cool.
Sounds like, the next Bitcoin historian. So,
I'm the real Bitcoin.
oh, you're the real one, the original one. Okay. Yeah, Kurt's learning from you, it sounds like.
Well, I
What can you tell us about the history of Bitcoin, I guess, that we don't know? Or
guess
that,
I
Tell
just
me about the
don't-
guy who you told me about, the guy who died. Just,
well, let me,
first say-
yeah, go ahead. What's the most interesting thing that comes to your mind in the history, stuff that we should know about? Maybe it's the story that Michael mentioned.
Merce Popescu. He was a Romanian Bitcoin genius and a total troll, a racist, crazy, insane genius. And he launched like basically a sort of web of trust based PGP IRC Bitcoin sort of futures and options and stuff like that, like Satoshi Dice, if you know that, like that was the one of the first gambling systems built on Bitcoin, and through his site MPEX, MPEX.
yeah, if anyone remembers MPEX, that was some breakthrough, thing. Like this is all back in like 2013, 2014. But keep going, Jake.
Yeah. So MPEX, it's not a thing anymore. Like it's totally dissolved, and he's, Popescu, quote unquote, died, in a boat accident, like in 2011, I want to say, and had about,
Or 2020, I think, or
I would estimate, like he said, at one point to have held like, I think 1.1 million BTC. But I think like the real number is probably somewhere around 300.
1,000?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
So the guy is a whale.
the guy was a whale. Yep, and that's what.
Yeah, it's very iffy and like, kind of like, maybe he faked his own death. I really don't know. It's weird. If you look at his blog, Trilemma, so, an interesting thing that he did was, he actually built a full separate Bitcoin node implementation back in the 2012 or so, like, it was called like the real Bitcoin, and it was basically a war against, Bitcoin Core, but there were also small blockers themselves. And so it's a really weird kind of situation, and looking back, and he was always, a BTC maximalist, but very against, like lightning and all that, and all the corporate side of things and L2s and all that, and so it's very, very paradoxical and interesting.
Sounds like somebody that, we haven't heard much about, at least from a historian perspective. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about that person before. So definitely, maybe you are the original historian, so, or at least a good one. So, one of the persons that may be similar to that was, there's a person, I think her name was Raj, and I only recently heard about it when I went to London, from Rosetta, which she started a token called OneCoin, and it became this giant, huge project. I think it was like billions of dollars. And then she disappeared after the feds went after her, and has never been seen since. So one of those, mysteries, and they're saying it's the largest scam of all time.
This other guy was, I was stunned that I hadn't heard of him. Like I said, I'll put my knowledge up against, pretty much anyone. And I was stunned to have heard that, this was a guy really, an innovator behind the scenes. And, his boating accident, I guess, if you ever hear that joke, that's where it comes from. So, because Kurt will kind of sometimes joke about that, and I wasn't really sure like where that came from, but that's kind of where that comes from. So
Nice. Well, it sounds all right. So, if we can move to start wrapping this up here in a few minutes, and kind of wind it down. We want to take note of doing another space like this on Wednesday, at around 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 Eastern. I'm going to schedule it out, and we'll start broadcasting it out on a future blockchain XTownHall. So please, if anybody has anything to add, questions, comments, feel free to do so.
Can I just jump in?
Oh yeah, Ruth, please come on in. Welcome.
Apologize for not speaking earlier. I didn't have my phone on me, so.
How you doing? Good morning or good afternoon on UK time.
That's right. Yeah, it's 5 in the afternoon. So yeah, no, I'm doing this giveaway with Wall Street 5 at the minute, and he's very, very generous, as you probably know by now. And he's basically giving the first 100 people who buy my book $5 in BSV via hand cash or just a BSV address. So he's an absolute star. He's right on with the incentives. He's basically trying to help me get it into the top 100 books on Amazon, because I'm sort of quite close in several of my categories to being in the top 100. And once it gets in there, it gets a bit of kind of Amazon algorithm juice, and they'll start showing it to more people. So,
Well, first of all, what is your Twitter handle, Ruth?
oh, Ruth Eastman.
Okay, so it's Ruth and spell the last name.
Yeah, Heas for sugar, MAN.
All right.
Heasman.
All right, that's your handle. Now,
Yeah.
how do people participate in this?
Well, go to my profile's probably easiest, and I've got like a bunch of tweets that I've been sending out over the last 24 hours that link to the book and to the kind of giveaway and explain. Basically, you just need to buy the book. You know, it's $3.99 for the ebook, so just buy that and then show some kind of screenshot of it in your Kindle or something to demonstrate that you bought it, and then add Wall Street 5's handle, which is actually Street 5 Wall, just to be confusing, and my handle into it, and your hand cash, and I'll send you some BSB. So, and if anyone needs a hand getting a hand cash wallet, Ray's offered to help, and I'm sure I could help as well. So, you know, if you're new to BSV, still do it anyway. Why not? Get in there with the BSV, you know, start using it.
Wall Street 5 needs so much more love than he.
I
than
know,
we give
I
him.
know.
He's amazing. He's
such
one
a
of the
gem.
first people that sent me some BSB that welcomed me into the space when I first learned about it. So I really appreciate him. It's really cool to see you and him co-creating together like that. And I think the more we support each other and all do that kind of stuff and campaigns together, the faster we can get this really out to the public. So I like seeing that stuff.
He's such a sweetheart, and he just suggested it to me last night. So, because I was sort of posting that I was really close to getting into the top 100 books, and you know what it's like. The higher you get up, the more likely people are to discover your book. So, I'm trying to spread the word about BSB.
So I'm looking at it now. It says how to participate. Buy the ebook on Amazon for $3.99. Tweet a photo or screenshot of the Kindle ebook on your device.
Yeah.
Include your hand cash handle or BSV address and tag Ruth Heasman, Heasman, and Street 5 Wall, and you'll receive $5 in BSV as a thank you. That seems like you mean that I make $1 just by buying your book?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I want to?
Everyone should be doing it.
Exactly, because I mean,
Just to support
yeah.
Ruth, but also just to get the word out there. Yeah.
I mean, so you pay me basically to buy it. I profit actually. So could I buy lots of copies of it for this? Is
Well,
that?
he says 500, and I've noticed that like John Wayne bought like 3 copies, 3 paperbacks, and he reimbursed them twice. So
Nice.
he's very generous.
Oh, wow. Well, what can people, what's like the takeaway from the book? Like what's some of the exciting points that, you know, that you can share with us without spoiling it?
Well, it's about AI and it's about Bitcoin. And yes, Craig is in the book. You'll notice he's on the front cover as well. So, but there's also quite a few other people in the ecosystem who get mentioned. And, but you know, it's fiction, so don't take it too seriously. But it is basically just dealing head on with all the kind of current problems that we're facing and the problems that we're going to run into with AI, and how Bitcoin could easily be a part of the solution.
Well, I'll throw down a challenge out there for everybody to get a hold of this book, especially for $3.99. You're going to get sent back $5 apparently.
I know.
So
I know.
it sounds like you get a profit, even if you don't like to read, you still get paid a little bit of money to even hold the book. So,
Exactly.
and I challenge everybody to read it. Well, I'll make the challenge to myself to read it, and there we go. So I can, you know, lead by example here.
You never know, you might even enjoy it.
I might even enjoy it. Exactly. Probably
It's
will.
meant to be, you know, it's a bit of a thriller, so it's, you know, it's meant to be enjoyable.
Mila, what do you think? Would you be willing to read this book for to be paid to read this book?
I mean, Mila's already got a copy. I gave her one.
I have a copy.
Oh.
I have a signed copy.
Oh, wow. Okay, you already got the signed copy. Ah.
So, I haven't gotten around yet to reading it. There has been so many things since I arrived back,
No,
but
I know.
I
the
can't
feeling,
wait to read
yeah.
it.
I'm trying to get through Hero Villain at the minute, like I'm about halfway through, it's really good.
Is there an ebook? Like, can I read?
It's an ebook.
There is an ebook, there's a hardback, there's a paperback, there's an ebook, and also if you go onto Canonic and you like audiobooks, there's an audiobook as well, but only on Canonic.
Oh, very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a book on Canonic actually too.
Cool, well, there you go, so you know how to use it. But yeah, the audiobook is really, well, I mean, it's actually read by an AI, not a person, which is why I can't get it onto Audible, but it is actually very good, so if you prefer to read books by listening to them, which I do personally, then you can always go that route.
Yeah, I'm a heavy reader, and I'm a Bitcoin historian, but also a Bitcoin futurist, and yeah, that's.
Well, you know, I'm all about the feedback, so if you read it and you either think something's wrong in it, or you don't like it, or whatever, tell me.
Oh, of course, yeah, I'm a huge reader.
Great.
Let's get our hands on that, Ruth. We'll go ahead and I'll definitely go ahead and get that right now and get the word out there. So it's at Ruth Heisman, and I don't see why anyone wouldn't. And then you're gonna buy the book on Amazon, $3.99, tweet a photo of it in a screenshot or Kindle and on your device, include your hand cash or handle or BSV address and tag Ruth Heisman. That's RUTHHEASMAN and Street 5 Wall, and you'll get $5 back in Bitcoin SV. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, he's epic.
All right, well, motion. Okay, what else? Mila, Casey, anything else that you want to add here before we close this session? And that we, any words of wisdom, inspiration?
No, just thank you so much again for bringing everybody together, and I look forward to seeing what we all can do together once we get the flow going here. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Yeah, let's do Wednesday again at 9, and I'm going to do it at 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern. That's going to be at I think 5 o'clock UK time. Is it 5? Yeah, 5 p.m. UK time on Wednesday. So that'll be the next one, and we'll. I did actually, here's a little of a kind of a hopium thing, but yesterday I sat down with the engineers at the X and software engineers at X and YouTube. Just met with them. Xiaowei knows these freaking people in Silicon Valley, and it was more of a accident. It wasn't on purpose. I didn't know that was what. And he's the one that basically developed these algorithms on how they do recommendations, as opposed to the SEO. It's now a recommendation system, which I didn't know. And so I'm going to go over to their office and go into X and into YouTube and learn more about this, especially about X, because there's a guy called Mario on X who's just completely dominating the space world. And if we can figure out how to how the algorithms work, we can really get this thing. We can really get into a viral audience. That's the goal. So I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm setting the intent. Okay. I'm right here in the right area. So I might as well try to learn from these people.
I do just want to mention one last thing, Gavin. When we first started, you brought up, and then BSV Columbia came up before we head out. But you brought up, Napoleon Hill and all these things, and I brought up Neville Goddard. Something I was thinking about is, if we're gonna really do this, the people that organize to do all the things against us, I mean, they use the laws of the universe and employ them in their tactics. So creating some kind of guided meditation or like affirmations recording for our community that really like speaks the things we want to see into existence, that we can all listen to periodically, just when you want to do a 5 to 10 minute meditation. That's something that I was thinking about creating down the road here. So anybody that has any like affirmations or statements that you would like to see in that kind of a compilation, please like shoot them to me in DM or something. And eventually I'm going to record something that we can all listen to with some good sacred frequencies behind them, and just start, our sessions off with that type of energy and really bring the coherence to the group. So
Well, here's one: to train myself so that I never find fault in any single person, no matter what, no matter how much to train myself that never under any circumstances whatsoever shall I ever find fault in a single person, no matter how much I may disagree with him or her, or how inferior his or her work may seem to be, just so I know they're just sincerely trying to do their best, living without judgment, right? And living without judgment is really one that is a good affirmation I want to leave everybody with, That's, hey, no judgment here. So
Yeah, I like that.
thank you. Thank you very much. Mila, anything? Yeah, go ahead.
BSB Columbia, you came up as a speaker right before I started.
Oh,
talking.
yeah. If there's anything else,
Anything you
last
say?
words before we close. BSV Columbia, leave us with some good inspiration.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Gavin. Thanks for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be with this team. One of my purpose in my account, X account, is teach the people, especially in Spanish, because my language is Spanish, but I would like to read all of you posts. I want to read the Ruth book, and I would like to write a book in the future with some title like Renaissance 2.0. I think in the real and original genuine Bitcoin BSB could bring humanity into a new renaissance, renacimiento. And so I like it, try new technologies, try new application in BSB, and learn how to use that and explain to other people here in Latin America and Colombia. I think one of the problems with Bitcoin is that the people do not understand well. There are a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding, and I would like to teach others how really is the Bitcoin and the philosophy behind it. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Come back again on Wednesday. We'd like to hear more from you. If it's going to be at 9 Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. Okay. We love to hear more about what you're up to and inspiring the philosophy of Bitcoin, small casual payments for the world and the Spanish speakers, and how it can be the new Renaissance. That's some inspirational stuff, man. So thank you for sharing it. BSV Columbia.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, then that's all the time I got. I'm going to have to motion that we close up, and I've got to get ready for my next meeting here. And I want to thank everybody for joining in. I did record this session, so for anyone who didn't catch it, I'll put it out on YouTube later on today, and share the video, share it, get it out there with everybody else. And
if anybody is interested in an after space, then now is a good time to raise your hand if I should do it today. Otherwise, I will do it on Wednesday.
oh, there you go. I was going to mention that, but I was waiting for you to volunteer. So there you go, Mila. That sounds awesome. A little after space to hang out mastermind.
Today, I got this crazy stomach cramp. I never have pains, but I got this crazy stomach cramp somehow. Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, if nobody is raising a hand, then I'm just gonna wait with the after space till Wednesday.
We'll do it Wednesday for the after space then.
Mhm.
Perfect. So,
Yeah.
well, I'll get this video out there, share it, and get the message out there once I put it on YouTube. Okay. And, come back on Wednesday, and I'm going to see everybody where I always say, I will see you at the top. All right. And that's it. So I'm going to end the space. See you guys at the top.
See you at the top.
See you at the top. Yeah.
See you.
See you at the top, baby. Yes. Yes, I will. Thank you. And now I got to